Elizabeth.
Lady Elizabeth. Elizabeth will work. And we also have Carol Elizabeth. Huh? You didn't know I was going to do that. The Ed McMahon, the off-camera jive. I was going to say vibe, but they don't know that. You have to jive. Okay, so I asked you if you could understand what... I gave you the title of the podcast, and then I gave you what the picture was. Right? So, and I asked you if you could understand what it was about. What'd you say?
Gender.
What?
Gender.
Gender. Okay, so how do you think that it relates?
Because you said Pac-Man, and then it does the bow help? What was the thing?
Okay, so Miss Pac-Man.
The only difference between, the only two.
Hold on, I'm trying to turn off the jigger.
Turn off the jigger.
I'm working on it. Oh my god.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh my god. Gender, please don't. I'm going to have to strangle you. Okay.
3, 2, it's gone.
All right, there we go. All right, so for real.
Because the only difference between Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man is the bow.
Is the bow. But that's like the only difference between Superman and Clark Kent's the glasses.
Honestly, I think Miss Pac-Man was a more refined game.
Okay,
the music
so...
was better.
All right, so that's what I want to talk about because I actually had an argument. I say argument, maybe I should say debate. I had a debate with somebody recently that said, why does there need to be more than one group of toys, etc., etc.? Why does it have to be a gender-neutral potato head? You know, why can't it?
Person.
Right, potato person. So why can't it be that way? Well, I'll tell you why. Because capitalism. Because you stand to make more money if you have 3 different potato heads that you can sell. It really just comes down to who can you market stuff to. Because we want to label ourselves in all these different categories. So by cracky, somebody's going to go, you know what? That person deserves to be marketed to. You are not laughing at me right now.
By cracky.
Hey, if I'm going to get on a soapbox as a boomer, I need to use boomer language, right?
Boomer language.
It's so's boomer language. Great Depression. Well, there you go. It's the Great Depression. But, by gum, that's what it is, right? You want to know why the hell somebody puts out all these different things. Because they can. Don't make it a deal and it won't be a deal. So what? Miss Pac-Man has a bow. She can be a girl. She can be entitled to have a separation, right? And have a bow. But guess what? So can Joe. Joe can wear a bow in his hair too. It doesn't make him a girl, right? It just means he's wearing a bow. So it's the difference.
Well,
so the difference in Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man's what?
It's the bow. I mean, that was the intent, though.
Right.
I mean,
but
the whole idea was, okay, this is why we're doing it. Not because anybody can wear a bow.
Right.
It's because we want people to think that this is female Pac-Man.
Right. So we get to reinvent and make something different.
Then they appeal to another demographic.
Because I got my first video game was Miss Pac-Man.
Yes.
Other than before that, I didn't have any interest in the Atari, and then now I have a game just for me. So now I'm going to play.
Right, so you understand that it works. So the reason why they do it is because it is very effective marketing, and it allows you to have something all to your own. Because every human being craves their own identity. We don't want to be all grouped into the same thing, which is why we label ourselves. I mean, now granted, other people label us too for their own amusement. I give people nicknames like Joe. He's regular Joe. And he's going to be regular Joe for the rest of his life in my eyes. And I adore the man because he had no clue why it made a difference in the beginning, and now he understands that it's really not the difference that it makes to the person not involved. He has no stake in it, so why would it matter, right? Now, he's not one of those people that argues it with me. He just understands it now, right? But some people do argue it with me, and they're like, we don't need to have all this. Well, we do, because everybody deserves to be recognized at their capacity. What touches them, right? And if it takes a bow to make a girl look at a video game, why is that wrong? It's not, right?
Not to the quarterlies.
And so there you go. So what starts out sometimes is good intention doesn't look like it is from another point of view, does it? Because, and there's that argument that goes around forever about, nurture or nature, with serial killers, right? And so people want to know how they grew up and how is that so vastly different than the other person who didn't turn out to be a serial killer. Why do you have, two of the same in a family if they're raised the same way? Well, because we have our own identities, right? Don't you agree? As much as I want everybody to be as perfect as me, they can't be. And it's a struggle sometimes. It is really a challenge for me to go, you know what? You can't be perfect like me. I want you to be, but the struggle's real.
Right.
So, okay, what's new in the world with y'all? Beth. You're supposed to talk about missing the podcast because I was really sick.
Okay. We missed the podcast because he was really sick.
Wow.
And then I got sick.
And then we did a live, though. We did a live. So we did a live on Facebook. And the people that aren't on Facebook don't know that. They don't know that we're still alive. So we are alive.
No.
I made it through the man flu for the second time in my life. I didn't think I was going to survive, y'all. I truly did not.
You'd think he was on death's door.
I was right there, knocking.
And mostly because one of us had a pillow ready for everybody. No, I'm just joking.
Wow, y'all didn't even hear that. You said it too
difficult.
quiet. Difficult or fantastically entertaining.
We'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Not boring.
Is anything I do boring though, y'all? See, and you had a misconception when you moved here that although I would be entertaining, it would get old after a while. You haven't had to scream at me yet. That's a bonus. I am kind of hyperactive occasionally. I was going to say most of the time, but yeah, that's right. Okay, most of the time. I'm hyperactive, and I have a lot to say.
Yes.
So how is it when someone has a lot to say and you don't?
I have a lot to say. I just can't get it in edgewise.
So what does it force you to do? No,
Interrupt.
seriously. But it forces you to assert yourself, right?
Yes.
And isn't it better to assert yourself with somebody comfortable than, do it whenever somebody's trying to talk over you, out there in the big scary world? So,
It's much better.
I don't get offended. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I get offended when you shut me down for something dumb. Like if you're reading a freaking article out of a certain magazine that Beth gets, I would probably be offended.
Is it the same article that's on the bed?
Okay, so
magazine?
you see,
I just looked at it and said, I don't really know anybody else that reads gossip.
you're not supposed to say it.
I said it quietly.
It's a very beau magazine,
Yeah.
right? And it has become something different. I prefer to look at LGBT crap when it comes to the news, and I say crap because it's all media, right? So whether it's newspaper, magazine, whatever, it's media. And I try, you notice I said try, which means intention.
Yeah.
So I set forth intention to control the amount of media I get. I set forth that intention, but in today's world, because I am global, I have to use certain medias, like this right now. If it weren't for media, I would not be able to reach the audience that I do. So it's a double-edged sword. So if I want media to work for me, I have to work media. That means I have to know about it. And I am learning. So trying is set forth. I don't normally let any of my clients say try, because it really is that intention. But right now, that's all I got. I got that intention, that desire's there. What is it that old people say, come on, the soul is willing, but the body is not,
Weak.
or weak.
Like
the-
the flesh is willing,
this-
the body's weak. The
Yeah,
spirit's
yeah, yeah.
willing, the body's weak.
Yeah.
You know, the whatever's willing, but the whatever's weak.
Right. So that's kind of what it is right now, is the intention is there, but the action is weak.
Yeah.
um,
It's on the docket, but we just haven't gotten to it yet. We've had other stuff going on.
well, right now we have like a hella windstorm going on. It's ridiculous. I'm surprised we don't have children lined up at our door being freaked out.
Don't put that out in the universe.
But I
Yeah.
did.
Those are probably people.
So my chinchillas are acting squirrely today too.
As long as the siren doesn't go off.
Did y'all know that that's a thing? I was raised on a farm, so animals do things when there's impending doom or weather, right?
Yeah.
I'm an animal, and so are you. So what do y'all do that's weird when storm's coming? Or weather's changing? You do it. What's the first thing you say whenever there's a weather change?
Well, I know when the weather's changing because my body.
My body. So my body tells me so. What about you? How do you know when the weather's changing?
I don't know. My body's not as consistent as y'all's is with the weather changes.
You mean you're not as aware of it? That's really what it is.
Probably.
But my excuse is it's not really my body that tells me so much as my father. My father comes in the night before anything. Oh crap, you want to get the vase off of the thing? Hopefully it didn't fall into the basement. Outside we have all of our plants outside. And so we have a pretty vase right there. Is it still there?
Oh yeah.
You hear that wind? It's crazy, right? Yay. So Grandpa hoards flowers, hoards plants, as well as everything else. So, of course, I have beautiful plants out there, and I don't want new ones. Let's just stick to these, so let's keep these alive and well. Today, Grandpa was mowing again. Again. And it's going to be like that.
This week.
Twice a week. It's insane, but it is what it is. It affected you today, the mowing, you thought, with your allergies.
Oh, I ran an errand today, and when I left the store, as soon as I did, I was like 10 feet down the road. I just started sneezing like crazy.
You went to the dispensary. You went to the dispensary.
I wasn't going to say where I went.
You went to the dispensary to pick up my meds. And when you did, and you got it in there, you had noticed that it was quite odoriferous.
Yeah, it was very strong, but it was
It could
weird.
have been the mowing.
Yeah, and
That's
also
what
could
I
have been
assumed.
because I didn't have like the car air conditioner or whatever set to like recycle to keep the air inside.
Right.
So anything from outside.
Failure. So, this whole gender thing, it's interesting. When I was showing Carol all these pictures of my childhood, you said something. You said, it's strange. It's like looking at what? All these pictures of me as a girl.
You as a boy.
Yeah, and because even as a girl, I looked like a boy. But that was before I became a woman, right? So when I became a woman, which is up there on the wall, easily identifiable because you fill a role. You know, if it wasn't for roles and labels in life, in society, we wouldn't know how to judge ourselves, would we? If you think about that, you would just be like everyone else. If you had no job title, if you had...
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about gender roles.
No, not necessarily gender, but any type of role to fulfill, right? You have to fulfill a role in order to feel purposeful.
I mean, I understand the thing about labels, but I mean, labeling stuff is like the entire basis of our language.
Right. That's how we
every word
know.
is a label for something.
Yeah, that's how we know what things are. That's created by us, just as a society. So what if you're outside society? So if you choose to not be social, you don't need those labels, right? You choose to isolate. So do you use labels more when you isolate or less? If it's truly a social thing.
I don't know. Was it maybe dependent on the label that you
Well,
choose.
right. Most people that I know that isolate, they call themselves a hermit, recluse, an introvert. They have a whole lot of criticisms about how they live their lives. I can't do this. I won't do that. I don't like this. So they have all these judgments and opinions, right? Very strict ones. And that in itself is boxing them in. So typically, if you don't have society to tell you what labels they carry, you have no idea what ones you're carrying, so you carry them all. You carry everything. You decide that you are the beginning and the end because you have nobody to bounce stuff off of. So if it wasn't for the bow, then you wouldn't know that you could be something different, right? Because if you all looked the same, somebody one day said, you know what, I'm going to put this weird triangle thing on my head and call it a bow. And that's going to make me a girl. Right?
I guess so.
Well, how did it evolve otherwise? What if, I just got your text from when you went to pick up Alex.
That's weird.
Yeah. So how would you know otherwise if you didn't share your uniqueness? How would you know what role you play? Like a baker has an apron, right? Why does a baker have an apron?
To keep their clothes clean.
Right. So you can identify a baker because, they have flour on their apron. They're wearing an apron, right? They don't have to be called a baker. Last names used to be based on your trade. That was how people knew you. So it was easy that way. And we talked about names on our live podcast, military names, how funny it is when somebody has a name like Richard Biggs. Or Big, because it's last name first. So it's stuff like that. If your name was Shoemaker, you would know. So it was easy to name somebody and then have their last name. But we don't do that now, right? So now we have all these last names that are traditional last names for our family. Groves, we spoke about that earlier. There's so many of us, so much chaos. And we're like Groves.
Well, my Pete's fell under the whole clan system.
Yeah,
so
you
everybody
are.
was named after the clan that they represented.
You might want to define clan right now.
Not the clan that's known in the United
Okay.
States. And
So
it's an Irish family clan.
there you go. We are from Texas, babe. People know we're from Texas. We can't just be spouting off. Did I
Nope.
get it?
It actually turned around and you missed it. It just flew behind you. It was weird.
I give up. And seeing,
Nice try.
and I'm not even like a violent person, but moths make me violent. And I'm always going to have moths because I have hay with my chinchillas and they're in there. And it's awful, but I love my chinnies. When I was in session this afternoon, one of the chinchillas decided to just squeak through the whole thing.
Sounds about right.
So that tells me that somebody over there needs food, because that seems to be something that they do is they scream at you when they want food, and they're like cats. There can be 10, 15 pieces left and they're dying, like I was when I had the man flu. Right? And that's something, do you hear me naming it? Man flu. That's like the bow. It separates the real flu from the man flu, because the man flu is an imaginary thing, but it feels very real. I'm telling you guys. And you know what? It's not just me, because I was talking to my client Alex about it too, and Alex said yes, very definitely he has had the man flu and he agrees. And I said, but you know what? You have no clue what it's like to give birth, though. I gave birth 4 times, and I'm telling you, this man flu, way worse than giving birth. Giving birth is like this long. Like, it sucks for a short amount of time. Man flu went on for like 6 months.
3 days.
Okay, 3 days, 6 months, whatever. It's the same. Yeah. And I'm still not quite right.
No, you'll never be quite right.
Come on, feel the noise.
Yeah.
Right? What are we going to do tonight, folks?
Stand on our heads and spit quarters.
I'm not doing that.
That's my favorite thing to do. Stand on my head and spit quarters. Did your parents ever tell you weird crap like that, Carol,
No.
to do?
I don't think so.
So when you said that you were
My
bored,
grandparents told me that.
okay, so when you were bored, if you said you were bored, your grandma would say, stand on your head and spit quarters.
Yeah.
I could see your
Mom would
uncle
say,
racing.
I have a job for you then.
Okay, so your mom would say, I have a job for you. My mom would say, go clean your room. Just point blank, go clean your room, because my room was that room. I didn't even actually have a room. Like, it wasn't my room. It was where my stuff was. You know what I mean? That's where my stuff was. I was kind of a nomadic child in my own home. I don't think my parents knew where I was at any given time.
Living in the crawl space.
I did. I lived in the crawl space for a little while. Lived in Shannon's closet. Lived in the linen closet. Lived in the little library closet. Lots of closets. How symbolic.
So amazing that you did not turn out to be a serial killer.
I know. But seriously,
That
how...
we know of.
Oh, really,
Key.
guys? Really?
Key.
Really? So, how symbolic, though, of my life to always be in the closet, right? And
Yeah.
until 37. And now I'm in a turret. Of course, I'm 45 now, not 37 anymore. Oh my gosh. So, I was really thinking about how long ago 35 was. Now, saying it, it's just 10 years. I'm 45 right now. Do you hear? Yeah, right, Gus or Butters, one of y'all. But, okay, so I'm 45 right now. 10 years ago, I was 35. What was I doing when I was 35? Living as a woman? It was not that long ago. Like,
Yeah.
it freaks me out when I think about that. You know, what were you doing 10 years ago at 35?
ABA therapy, raising 2 kids.
It was,
in a hopeless relationship.
yeah, it was just 10 years ago. Why is 10 years so long now?
10 years ago, my son would have been 15 instead of 25, and it was how longer?
So think about this. Okay, so I just gave you that concept of what 10 years is, right?
I never would go back to
So if that was 10 years ago, and I'm 45, there's been 4 of those 10-year periods. You know, that's a lot. My dad's 80. There's been 8 of those. Oh my God. Now there's 2 moths.
I think that's the same one.
Look,
There's 2. There's one right here.
I quit. I quit. I can't. Please, somebody take pity and send me an electric racket, because I'll never buy one, but I would definitely use it. Take pity. You know, and I shouldn't feel that
You
way,
know
but
your
I'm
dad's
also
got
crazy.
one.
You need to add ease, because you know it don't
Probably
work.
right under our feet.
And I'm sure it don't work like the rest of the crap. So let's talk about what he brought home today, shall we? Does anyone know what his hoard was today? It's
Well,
it's
I know
Friday.
that there's an estate sale just right up the street
I
right
saw
here.
So-
the sign.
Okay, so what did he bring home? Does anyone know?
No.
Look out there. He got me a watering can.
Oh, well, that's good, because we needed one of them.
We
What did he
needed
get?
another
Yeah.
one, the third one that we needed.
What did he
But
get?
it's cute because it's metal.
What did he get him?
That's the point. As long as he doesn't get himself anything, then he's allowed.
Is it a nice watering can?
Look out there. You'll see. It's nice.
We were just out there. You didn't
Yeah.
see it.
No, because I wasn't looking for a watering can at the time, but
But
I
it is
noticed
literally
yeah.
the third one, guys.
I'm weird that way.
And
I
not
don't
to
know why, I just
mention,
don't.
okay, so
We have
wait.
quarter quart, 'cause we-
There's more, because we also have gallon jugs
more.
of water.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're saving all the ice cream buckets.
Why? Who's saving
All
all the
of
ice cream
them?
buckets?
Fred said they work good in the garden.
For the garden. So we have a bucket of ice cream, what, a week?
Yeah.
Easy.
And the garden is being planted now, so Dad's thinking ahead that he might get, what, four new ice cream buckets? That's what he's thinking. So,
How will it be used in the garden?
oh, that's what he totes the stuff
Ask
in.
him.
Yeah, go ask
No,
him.
thank you.
Ask him all about it, because
No,
I did get the little green baskets. And you know, People are listening right now going, ice cream bucket sounds fantastic. But guess what? You don't have to be your parents, people. You don't. Yes, it looks good, but the reality is you have two hands. Put stuff in your hands. And if you really desperately need something to put the stuff in, I'm sure you have plastic bags, right? Because if you'll save an ice cream bucket, you'll save a plastic bag. But it's okay because he's 80 and he can do whatever he wants because he's a wonderful man. He just fixed your car, Carol.
I know, so I'm on his court.
And that's the problem. He knows that. See, he knows.
My windshield wipers replaced too, so.
And you know, you know what? As adults, and I know that Aunt Sarah and Uncle Frank and Aunt Donna can all relate. As adults, y'all know that all you have to do is do something kind for someone and you'll get a kindness back.
Yeah.
My dad knows 100% that in order for us to be kind to him, he has to be kind to us, right? So, bless his heart.
He's got quite a bit of kindness.
Yes, we love him, but his kindness is busting the house at its seams.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're going to be on camera here, and this shelf behind us is going to be a little bit closer, and there's going to be stuff behind there, and then we're going to be this far from the camera, and people are going to finally go,
I have stuff that I have questions about in the foyer, but we'll get to that later.
this is scary. I can't do this.
I know.
I can't do I have questions. I have questions about stuff too, but I don't want to ask. So if it's questions I don't know the answer to, I'm forcing you to ask. I'm sure that everybody that's listening to us right now can identify that there is that one member of their family that people don't want to approach, right? Right? Don't you think, Beth? Don't you think that everyone listening right now has that one family member that they don't want to approach about some shit? They're like, we're not talking to Nana about that today. Nope.
Do you have the comments up in case anybody?
Oh, do
We don't
I?
even know if anybody's been talking.
And I know we haven't had the comments up.
I don't even know if they work most of the time. No.
Okay.
But I don't, yeah, I'm logged in. I'll know because people will let me know. They'll be like, what? Sometimes I get a text 4 or 5 days after the podcast, and it'll be in reference to something I said in the middle of it, and I'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I love that people listen and talk to us about it. I think the whole gender thing is weird. I think having adult parents living with you is weird. I think that we live a weird life, and I like it. I like weird. It's interesting. I don't ever have to stand on my head and spit quarters because I don't know that I've ever said I was bored.
No.
And when I do get bored, I clean, which is crazy because Mom told me that, you know. So I wish you produced quarters.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Although that would be a sight to see. I think that I'm a decent person, and so I won't wish that on you.
Yeah, it sounds like it might not be very pleasant.
Would you spit them from your butt?
I don't think that's what that meant, but maybe.
Yeah, I would figure
It would
that-
look more
It's from
interesting.
your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah, but from your mouth, why would you stand on your head and then spit them?
because that's what makes the quarters work.
Come out of your mouth.
But see,
Upside down.
I don't know.
It
Upside
comes
down,
out
it
of your
seems like
mouth.
they would float to your butt and
Okay,
come out your
metal
butt.
doesn't float.
It might could. It might could. You don't know. You don't know.
You're right.
I
do not
force
know.
you into these
I know.
conversations. It's fun. It's fun to force you into stupid conversations that nobody would think to have. Right?
Absolutely.
Come on, we're all adults. And this is the fun of being an adult. We are. It's what I always tell my young clients when they come in and they're freaked out about going to college and then making it on their own. And they're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to support myself. Well, do you support yourself now? No. Okay. Well, let's look at the ways that maybe you do support yourself that you don't know you do. You know, let's look at all those little bitty things that make you you and make you capable. So whenever I talk, even these little conversations, that makes me capable of not being stressed. It makes me capable of checking out and keeping me from being not being the person that is rigid. Because if you create your own kind of environment, you can flourish on your own, which is what I had to do a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like you do ABA therapy, so you know that whenever somebody's left their own devices and is capable, they can create something from nothing, right? And so I go through my life and create something from nothing, and I realized I actually created a whole monster, and now it's following me. 4 of them, as a matter of fact, 4 of them and an old man, because I accept him too. And now I'm creating a monster in you, one of us.
Yeah.
You already say that's what she said up your butt.
I know. I already said that's what she said.
We teach good habits and poor habits all at the same time, don't we?
Sure.
What have you taught the kids lately?
That getting up in the morning can be fun if you have the right attitude.
Okay, if you have the right attitude, what does that require?
Changing your thought process in the morning when you wake up. Because Oliver's not a morning person like I'm not really a morning person. And so I have to do the same thing that I've told him to do.
Which is what?
Which is in the morning, appreciate something.
So
familiar?
Yeah, so I say that from time to time. So what do you appreciate in the morning?
First, when I gather my senses, I appreciate being at home and I appreciate having family around me.
That
I
is
turn
a
around,
good thing.
and I can see you, and I look over and I can see you, and I appreciate that.
And then you look forward and see Dad standing between you and the microwave.
I appreciate your dad.
I do too.
In many ways. There's a lot of times it seems like I'm really frustrated all the time with him, but I'm not.
It seems like you're frustrated with me all the time too, and you're not. But that's only because sometimes we concentrate on what gives us the power. And that's the frustration, right? So anytime I know that you're frustrated, you're being louder than usual. Whether it's your voice or your actions, you're being louder than usual. So I know you're frustrated. So I have a choice to make. Do I approach you about your frustration or let it be? And it's really like, do I ask Grandpa a question or I just wonder? It really is. Even as a 45-year-old adult, I fear the response, right? And it's only in my own mind. Because who am I to say that her frustration is going to lead to anything other than her feeling better if I ask her? Right? If I ask you, hey, why are you frustrated? And you tell me, you might feel better. But in my mind, I don't even want to unpack that suitcase. I'm like, it's probably me. And that's how you know that you're the guilty party, right? You're the guilty party if you think that you are. You've heard, I think, therefore I am.
Yeah.
Right? So if I think that I'm the problem, then I am the problem. I'm becoming the problem. And I don't think that people think about that either. I think in general, you just go through life unaware that you're creating ripples until someone notifies you that you're creating ripples.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, do a lot of things that we're unaware of.
But we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be unaware for a little while until somebody brings us present and says, this is something you need to pay attention to. That's what society does for us. So you see, if we're by ourselves, we have to have that label of blacksmith or shoemaker for our last name. So people can identify us, right? Because we're not doing anything to identify ourselves. That's why you wear a bow. That's 2 times. I took it right back to the bow. You know what my bow would say?
I don't know. I'm sure it has something to do with a unicorn.
It would say bow because that's what it is. And I think it
There
would
wouldn't
fit
be a
bow
unicorn
easy.
anywhere on it at all.
Oh, there'd be some sort of unicorn. Ooh, maybe I would wear it here. So it'd be like a unicorn horn. You know what? Y'all love it.
I could imagine that.
I'm sure you could. So we need to get with little Bobby Streets and talk to him because we talked to him a little bit on live.
Yeah.
We talked to Corey a little bit on live too, and on Wednesday. That was on Wednesday. So y'all can go back and look at that. But I want to plan something for the family coming into this next year. I'm looking at summer this year, and I'm like, summer this year, I don't know how much we're going to be able to do, but I want to plan something with the extended family. Because it's sad to me to just have us here. You know, even though we're this many, I want Donna and Sarah and Lindsay. My God, Lindsay did a health update on the Facebooks earlier that I read just right before I got on here. That she's doing amazingly well, and she gets her pacemaker on the 10th of May. So
Very nice.
That brought my attention to the need to see her again, right? I don't want to miss the opportunities anymore. So people are going to have to coach me. Y'all are going to have to get me whipped into shape when it comes to that. Family's important, right? I want to do that. And Joe and I were supposed to have a chili cook-off, but he's a butthole and canceled it. I still want to have a chili cook-off. So if anybody has vegan chili recipes or vegetarian, I want them. I want them. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
Really, y'all are boring.
No, sick.
It's date night and y'all are boring.
I'm sick.
You can't have man flu. You're not a man. You're not a man. You can't have man flu.
I can have man flu if I want.
You cannot. You're not wearing a long tie.
Okay.
That's what would make you a man. What is the symbol for man? Is there a symbol for
Yeah,
man?
it's a circle with an arrow.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, is there something like that? Because whenever I think about...
Jackass. Oh, wait a second. There isn't one because
Wow.
it's man, and then we have to differentiate women from men. It's all about men. Mankind.
And that's exactly my point. So if we are all equated, you know, we have to be different. So now that I'm equated with man, I need to be different. I'm not man. I'm trans man. So I can wear a scarf. I can wear a scarf and a tie.
Big T on your chest.
I do. I need a big
Super
T.
trans.
I already said that I'm going to be Trampa instead of Grandpa.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have something that says that. I'm done talking now. Y'all are boring, so I'm going to have to go find something to do.
We're the boring bunch.
Like, for real. What's up with that?
Not well.
You got that right. You ain't well in the head. Well, I hope that the people that heard us enjoyed our weird conversations. And we'll be back with a message of love and light next Friday on date night with us. And if you call in, I can do that radio voice.
You have to be
Wow.
real close to the
Yes,
mic when you do it.
She's laughing.
You have to whisper it into the mic. Okay, good night.
Wow. Bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Beth. I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.